Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another video. I'm Ryan Beach, and on today's video, we are going to be talking about high notes, high notes, high notes.
High notes.
I know everybody's excited to talk about high notes on the trumpet. Do we need another video to talk about how to play higher on the trumpet? Nope, not really. So instead of talking about specifically how to approach the upper register, I'm gonna rather give you a structure that I have found successful in my own practice for developing this, and I've seen it to be successful in other people's practice sessions as well, that you might be able to apply to your own efforts to develop your upper register. Before we get into the exercise, I thought knowing why or where it came from would be kind of helpful for you in understanding the purpose behind the way it was designed. It's probably no surprise to anybody that I got this from the gym. In the gym, if you were to bench 135 pounds 5 times, congratulations, that's awesome, but what now? In what ways could you progress? Well, the most obvious way would be to add more weight. 145 pounds for 5 reps, or maybe even for 3 reps, but adding weight to the bar is a form of progression. Maybe instead of adding more weight, you just want to add more reps and you want to do 135 pounds for 6 reps or 7 reps and gradually build up that way. Or maybe you'd rather add another set, do 135 pounds 5 times, but for 2 sets instead of 1 set. Assuming that it wasn't a complete max effort for you, any of those methods of progression will work for you to be able to move forward. Bringing this back to the trumpet and how to play high notes, a lot of the methodologies I've seen out there for how to build upper register would be the equivalent of just adding more weight, which can work, but it is limited in the end with how far it will take you. You'll eventually just hit a ceiling where you can't play necessarily any higher tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And so you'll just start to struggle and maybe feel like it's not actually for you. So for me, I would get frustrated with that particular system because I would want other ways to track progress to be able to know that I am getting better. And so that's what I did. The solution that I came up with needed to cover a few bases for me. Number 1, I wanted it to be easy to follow. Number 2, I wanted to be able to track my progress. Number 3, I wanted to build rest into the exercise because I know rest is important. And number 4, I wanted the process to be able to ingrain good habits, especially towards the beginning, so that when I ascended into some more difficult or unfamiliar registers, I would have sort of a model that I was trying to match as I went into those more unfamiliar or difficult registers. So this protocol that I designed is pretty easy. You just need 2 things, a working knowledge of scales and a stopwatch. The structure of this routine is pretty simple, although as I describe it, it might sound complicated. Don't worry, I'm going to actually demonstrate the whole exercise for you later in the video so that you can kind of see how it's put together. Once you see it, it's pretty simple, not hard to do yourself, so just hang in there. To begin with, you're going to play a scale for 10 seconds. You're going to rest for 20 seconds. You're going to play another scale a half step higher for 10 seconds. You're going to rest for 20 seconds. You're going to play another scale a half step higher for 10 seconds and then rest for 20 seconds. That is 1 set. So to demonstrate, I'm going to start on G major, and I'm going to go G major for 10 seconds, rest 20 seconds, G sharp major or A flat major for 10 seconds, rest for 20 seconds, A major for 10 seconds, and then rest for 20 seconds, just to demonstrate what that looks like. So those 3 scales or those 3 repetitions would make up 1 set. You're going to do a total of 3 sets in your first session. To demonstrate what this looks like, so there's really no questions, I'm just going to go through what it would look like for me to do this in a register that's difficult but doable for me. In order to provide some excitement in the rest periods, I'm just going to throw out a few of my favorite quotes for you to read during the rest period so that you can have something to occupy yourself while I'm resting. Here's what it would sound like for me, but starting on F at the top of the staff to an octave higher than that. So that's what it looks like to do 3 sets total. If it felt pretty easy, your next practice session that you do this, you're gonna do 4 sets total. If that felt good, the next one is gonna be 5 and then 6. Once you've completed 6 sets successfully, you're actually gonna go back to 3 total sets, but move all the scales up a half step, and then you're just gonna repeat. Rinse and repeat over and over and over and over again. What this is gonna do is it's gonna build some work capacity and some familiarity in the scales you're practicing before we start moving. So it slows down the progression, but builds in the ability to have good repetition along the way. To give you a good place to start, what I would recommend is if your highest note that is comfortable, not necessarily the highest note you can absolutely play, but the highest note you can play on most any day, if that's a high C, I would recommend starting somewhere around F, F sharp, and G below that. You're trying to work in a bit of a buffer to say, I can do it here, I'm going to establish good habits, and then as I progress into more difficult ranges, I know what success looks like, I just need to keep copying that model of success. I would also recommend that you actually only do this 2 or 3 times per week maximum so that you don't overload yourself. It can be tempting to want to do this every single day to progress as fast as possible, but playing in the upper register is taxing, as we all know, so not only should we rest within the actual exercise, but putting a day or 2 in between the exercise allows our chops to recover in that way as well. I'm gonna put on the screen what a progression would look like if you did this 2 times a week for a few months. As you can see, if you stick with the process, it's actually not very long before you're working in ranges that are difficult for you, but you allowed yourself the beginning part where you could establish good habits, so hopefully you'll find more success when you get there, rather than if you just started there now but didn't really know what you were doing. Before we close this video, I do want to say that this is not necessarily the end-all be-all exercise for developing range. A lot of people have a lot of different methods. For me, what this is a way for you to build some familiarity in the upper register. There are some ways that we need to take what we learn here and to be able to transfer it to actually being able to own the upper register. But as my graduate teacher, Barbara Butler, would say, the ability to play in the upper register is how well you can hold a note in the upper register. So basically, this is a way to build in some repetition while holding notes, figuring out what that set is, and like I said, just building some familiarity with those registers. All right, everybody, that's gonna be all we have for this video. If you enjoyed the video, if it was fun or entertaining or anything like that, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button down below, and make sure to subscribe if you wanna see more content like this, more tips, more tricks, more playing videos, anything like that, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to know how I would apply this exercise to your practice, or you have any other questions about organization or developing skills on your instrument, I'm going to leave a link down below where you can schedule a free 30-minute call where we can talk about your practice, your goals, and how I might be able to help you succeed. Thank you so much for watching the video. Always remember, stay strong, be kind to yourself, never stop growing, and we'll see you in the next video.